there's no runic. And also, we have a kind of a different thing. We're using what's called game time divided by 3 for scaling. So what that means is as the clock goes up, the enemies are going to gain a level every 3 minutes, starting 9 minutes in. So at up until 9 minutes, the enemies will be at level 3. Then every 3 minutes afterwards, they will gain 1 level.
And we're off. Thanks for that, Houdat. So, typically you guys are used to seeing us on the hunt for characters and espers and potentially some dragons, but as Houdat was saying, no espers this time. So you might see a lot of people just noping straight out of checks, and you'll be thinking, what was that for? Mainly because espers don't do us any good in this seed. They can still provide bonuses like strength, magic power, stamina if you care about that, etc. But there will be no spells. So most likely you're going to see a lot of racers just opting out of anything they know to be an esper just to go faster.
Yeah, and it's worth remembering you can still actually cast the espers. So if you get something nice like Bahamut, you can still use that. But yeah, no spells this time. So I think people are going to be looking for the elemental shields. And it's also worth noting that you cannot purchase elemental shields, and you cannot purchase rods, and you can't purchase super balls.
Actually, this seed, super balls are left in.
Oh, are they? Okay.
But yeah, Ceiling Cat didn't want it to be too daunting. So hopefully they'll be able to find some very useful at the start of the game. They're out there for sure. But we'll see if anybody finds them before they get going. Super balls get less useful the higher level you get, but it's extremely helpful, especially in a couple of the early fights here where they won't be a necessity, but they will definitely speed things up.
Well, and if you can get them later on in the game in Kefka's Tower, they can be a way for your less developed characters to do a little bit of damage too, if you don't have them quite equipped as much as your main characters.
Sure, yeah, if they can survive that first turn. So, it looks like everybody's starting off the seed on a little treasure hunt. First thing we like to do is take a look around, go to the known treasure areas, and much like every other randomizer out there, just start collecting gear. So we've got Zelfer checking out Narsh. We got Drulith checking out Returner's hideout. I believe, I didn't see, but there's no way he missed the Ragnarok that was in there, so that'll be quite helpful. And Mr. Entity's having some fun with naming.
A lot of confidence right there.
Yeah, the valuable time to stick with this meme that 3 people keep going. Zelfer checking out our first check went to the throne in Figaro Castle.
Got and super useful economizer.
Got him an economizer and a seed with no magic. Not going to come in all that handy, but it is worth a hefty amount of gold. And speaking of which, he stumbled upon our super balls, and the benefit of having Edgar in your party is they're half price. But he's going to opt to not get any. And we'll see if he regrets that decision, or maybe he's just checking out this shop before he spends all his money.
Yeah, well, $5,000's a little steep this early in the game, though.
True. However, so the shops we're dealing with in this seed can still have some great stuff, but only basically a 20% chance. We're doing 20% chance random items, so there's a good chance you're not going to find anything that great, but it does remain a possibility. So it's possible he's seeing what else there is, but I would be surprised if he didn't pick up at least 1 or 2, which it looks like he's going to.
So when you ran this with this flag set early on, how was your strategy different than it would be in a normal scaled seed?
So since we're running with time progression here, time scaling rather, it's good to do. Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You can get your free stuff out of the way first, and it doesn't technically advance the scaling because we're not doing progression-based. However, the longer you take to do it, the more it's costing you because they are increasing in levels over time. So you have to balance out, do we want to do all the free stuff first and try to get that edge for when I finally go and do a fight? Or try to get a fight done as soon as possible to guarantee that it's a low level and easy scaling. So for me, I spent far too long shopping and looking around for stuff, and so my first couple fights didn't take a long time, but they're definitely not as fast as I wish they would have been. So hopefully they will. There's some good stuff available to them. Hopefully, as soon as they find just enough they need to get going, I would hope they just get going, because this time can add up.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I'm not going to spoil it just yet, but Zelfer has been working on a little bit of a different strategy this week, and I'm going to be curious to see if he uses it in his race. So keep an eye on his stream for something you might not normally have seen the last few weeks.
Fascinating. Well, if there's any runner that's gonna show you something different, it's gonna be Zelfer, or Drulith also, but we're talking about Zelfer, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Drew's going to pull out of his hat. Drew has a way of really cutting the time down on these seeds, so I think we're going to be in good for a good race tonight.
No, no Merton strats today, but it's possible we could employ some Joker Doom. I'm trying to remember if anybody. I don't think anyone has slots early on, but depending on how it branches out, we may see him. Although I think I don't know where we landed on the discussion of whether that's allowed or not, but I'm thinking it's not. So we probably won't, unless Drew's feeling extra frisky.
When does Drew ever not feel frisky?
Only after dinner. So Mr. Entity also found the Super Balls, and Drulith is heading to. Is that Zen for the? Yeah, he's gonna go check out Zen. Maybe pick up the for purchase Esper. I keep wanting to say free because you don't have to fight for it, but it's like literally not free. So he's picking up the for purchase Esper to maybe see if it has a bonus that'll be helpful on it. Little does he know it's not an Esper, but it still will be helpful.
Yeah, one thing I think worth pointing out here is we're seeing more and more people customizing their backgrounds and their fonts and whatnot. So, not to call it Drulith for not doing it, but it is interesting to put a little bit of personality into.
Yeah, I think it's good. The fastest of the fastest racers always want to just minimize that sort of thing, so it takes up literally no time. But what's a couple seconds to stand out in the crowd?
Oh, especially with your slick wood grain, that gets me every time.
I originally picked that just because it looked orange and I like the color orange, and then somebody pointed out it was supposed to be wood, and now I'm less in love with it, but I can't change now.
Reminds me of the interiors of the cars that we had when I was a kid.
Yeah. And the exterior.
On some of them, yeah.
Sorry for the dogs. They're frisky tonight for some reason.
So what would it take to get you to rename one of your dogs Interceptor if they're not already named that?
A divorce of my wife, probably. That's what it would cost me anyway. She doesn't know who Interceptor is. And but we did have one completely ravage a tree today, so it does have that kind of fighting spirit.
Did the tree hit you first?
No, it was a silent bystander. I don't know, man. The dog just saw the tree and I ravaged it. I don't know what he was thinking. He's never done that. Maybe it's rabies. Who knows?
So it looks like everybody's kind of in South Figaro. Pretty standard thing to do. Drulith went to Albrook, and that's over the last few weeks has kind of become the meta to do. And so, what are your thoughts on that? I used to never check it. I went there one time, got something really cool. Now I have to check it every time because obviously there's going to be something cool there.
Obviously, if you find one time in a randomizer, clearly it will be there the next time as well. That's the whole point. But actually, I have been a long time proponent of Albrook. I've done it pretty much since I started running the randomizer because it's a real quick flight. You get 5 or 6 free chests depending on which world you do it in. You can check all the shops there. It really doesn't take too long. You can get some good stuff and make sure you're not missing anything out of the shops. And since when you get back in the airship, it usually always points you straight north. You can go right up to Zen or South Figaro or whatever. There's a clear path. So it's a pretty short detour for what can be pretty rewarding.
Do you have a preference for World of Balance or World of Ruin, or just whichever one you happen to be in when you think about it?
Yeah, I've experimented with that, and I used to do World of Ruin all the time just for that extra box, and then you hit Doomgaze right at the start of the seed and just have to start over, and kind of dissuades you from doing that. So I stick to World of Balance for now, but sometimes I hit up both. It just depends. If it's like a random shop seed, then I'll probably check out both, unless of course I've found all the good stuff already. But what's interesting is that ever since an update or two ago, and the chests outside of Thamasa have been added back into the game, I'm finding that's kind of an Albrecht situation where there are 5, I think, free chests plus shops, and so I've added that as part of my route too. And I'm actually debating just routing out the South Figaro dungeon altogether, because I can get 10 chests a lot quicker than I can get the however many there are in that basement.
Oh wow, yeah, that's plus your burning house adjacent. So Drulet just went to Miranda and picked up a bunch of Gaia gear, which is going to be an interesting strat. See if he runs into any Quake or anything like that. But Gaia gear's not bad, especially early on.
Yeah, and since he has it, he might go for the super early dragon play, since dragons are scaled in this seed. He's going to have some problem. I don't know if he found the super balls. I didn't see, but he just found my favorite shop in the game. Both Dragoon Boots and Dragon Horn in the same shop. That's like the dream. But I'm not sure if he found the super balls. Otherwise, he's going to have a little bit of trouble dealing damage this early. But he could pray for a dirt Durgan and go for the early dragon kill to give him a big boost.
Oh yeah, that would be huge. Looks like Zelfer's going into Zone Eater, so he's going to do Go-Go's check and try to avoid the green guys guarding their lucky charms, as I like to say. I am absolutely horrible at this check. I would rather do literally any other thing in the game besides this. And Zelfer just showed why.
Yeah, it's not a popular check. It is free. There's no fight here. The only fight is against the Chancellor robots on the bridges there. I don't know what their purpose is inside the stomach of a giant worm, but they don't want you there, and they're going to make sure that you have a rough time getting out.
It doesn't work that way, Zelfer. That never works. Running at him never works for me, man.
If it's going to work for anybody, it's going to work for Zelfer. But he's probably going to be a bit disappointed at the end of this, because I believe it's an Esper with basically nothing on. I don't remember if it has a bonus or not, but not going to get him. It's not going to advance him in the seed.
Well, last week I talked to Zelfer Luck TM, and he completely blew it on me. Ended up getting 75 Espers as opposed to the however many he needed. So
the requisite 10 or 11, I think. No, 8. I don't know.
8, yeah. Oh, but he made it past. Now he's in the squishy ceiling room. I almost always get pancaked in here. I don't know why. If you go for the second chest and you're not fast enough and you don't stop completely, it will look like you made it, but you didn't, and then you die anyway.
Yep. I found the biggest issue, at least for me, whenever I get squished in this room, is that it's actually the pop-up for the chest. So if you check that first chest and you don't smash that A or B button fast enough to get rid of that window, that time still counts. So if you're looking at what item you got, and then you just decide to go for it as if that was a pause button, it's not. You will definitely get squished. And sometimes it's not even, really the delay is not even that big. If you just spend a fraction of a second taking too long with that, you can get squished. I think that's what the issue most people have.
Yep. So it looks like Swerve has found Sabin. He's going to Figaro Castle in the World of Ruin. So see who he ends up fighting down here.
Mr. Entity checking out the aforementioned added back in chests outside Thamasa. As Drulith is checking out the half-price shops in World of Ruin South Figaro, which, in case anybody didn't know, also has a set of exterior chests, as in not inside of buildings, which you can get now in both World of Ruin and World of Balance.
Yeah, and I think, given that this was an Edgar and Go-Go start, I think we're going to be everybody have funneled in the same direction here at first. We'll see how much people end up branching out in this. This could be a very straightforward seed, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's when one of your starting characters only has one check, and then Edgar pretty much, you can do his throne check first, as we've seen, but there's really only one check where you can actually go unlock a character. So, and that's where we are with Swerve here. So before I mentioned that the Super Balls were going to be a big help at the start, and it's because our first boss is Triton. And so with no fire spells in this seed, you either need to find fixed dice, a drill, or those Super Balls. It's pretty much the only way to take him out. So luckily he did find the Super Balls.
Yeah, Tritok is rough early anyway, and especially in a seed like this with no magic. So fortunately he was able to get through it.
Mr. Entity found the greatest shop in the world as well. And it's double great because it's an Edgar start, who you know makes a very good Dragoon. And as we'll find later, spoiler alert, there are Aura Lances all over this seed. So it's gonna be a good time sooner or later.
So as a Dragoon fan, did you find that shop early, or did it take you a while?
I did, see, because I routed in Thamasa as kind of my standard opening route now, where I basically just hit up Returners, Albrook, and then Thamasa. Of course, I also went to South Figaro in this one, which I shouldn't have, but yeah, found it early, super happy about it, except I also found a Ragnarok, which I don't think either Gogo couldn't equip, or no, because I also found fixed dice, which Gogo could equip. So I had a Ragnarok and fixed dice, and the jumping didn't quite fit into that scenario. Although now that I think about it, I don't think Edgar could equip the fixed dice, but that does work with jump. So that would have been an interesting strategy. I didn't think about it until just now, although there's a good chance he couldn't equip them anyway.
Mr. Entity running into the real boss of the game, which is this lady here in Albrook. She gets me every time. Standing in front of a very important barrel.
Looked like Drulith just made it past the Worm Chancellor with no issue whatsoever, unless that was the second time through and I missed the first.
And he doesn't save, showing off. Oh, here we go, skipping chests. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not too bad if you skip the chest. But if that were me, I'd be thinking, well, there went my Illumina. The whole time. I would never let it go.
Every chest that you don't check is either a Paladin Shield or an Illumina. It's a fact.
Zelfer doing my favorite check in the game, the clock in the relic shop of Albrook. Unfortunately, today it was probably one of the cheapest items in the game, so that didn't pan out, but always a great check.
Well, Edgar just wanted to walk by the dancers and say hi.
Let's see. Okay, so we've got Swerve headed down to the ancient castle. This is one of the longer checks in the game. It's kind of a long trek there, and you have to walk back. There's no warping out, but there is quite a bit of treasure along the way, and there's a dragon down there that will he could try early, and it will satisfy his part of his 6 dragon requirements.
Yeah, you don't ever really want to double dip, and that could be a reality in this seed, but if you can avoid it.
Ooh, I don't know if you just saw Julith's screen, but he had a little back and forth with his D-pad there, and he almost got the squish. I mean, maybe not that close, but closer than I would care.
And he jumped right into the green guy and went right through him. See, that never happens to me. I try to do that, and my Super Nintendo catches on fire. So.
Yeah, I'm thinking he went down to the bottom intentionally here to check out that treasure on his way out. But Swerve tried the monster in a box. I did this.
So
actually, go ahead.
I was going to ask, especially early on in the seed, you don't really know how it's going to play out. Are you checking all these monsters in the boxes in hopes of getting an offering and some money?
So if I have found something that I can use with an offering, then yes. And that's why I did, because I found the fixed dice. I had already had them by this point. But if I'm rocking, Ragnaroks and Illuminas and Dragoons and things, then usually not. They are a time sink, excuse me, and it's a gamble. Even if you find a katana. Oh, I also checked it because I happened to have Edgar, who had a noise blaster, which is the best way to cheese Katana Soul, who is otherwise a very dangerous enemy. So it kind of depends on the situation, but if at all, the stars have to align, and then I will check everyone until I find my offering.
Looks like Swerve's going to try to fight an ice dragon here.
Only danger here is getting frozen, which he did. That's exactly what happened to me. I had my Mimic get frozen. I wanted to throw a super ball and mimic it. Of course, he just one-shots it, so that's no problem. But
So correct me if I'm wrong here. Super Ball does a multiple of 128 damage to somewhere between 1 and all of the monsters on the screen. Is that correct?
no, but I can't tell you what's correct. So I don't know. It's got a very goofy damage formula. Somebody in the chat can tell us, but it's something like a multiple of 256 damage to 4 different targets, but the target can be the same, maybe 2 to 4 targets, and then the targets can double up. So it's very strange. I don't know.
Well, that's why your parents never wanted you to throw super balls at your little brother or sister.
I was the little brother. I had super balls thrown at me all the time.
And you always took a multiple of 256 damage, didn't you?
Every time I could count. He has found a giant snail, which he doesn't care for either. So he's out.
Boiled shrimp. Super ball damage seems to bounce around to me. Wow. You can't escape it, even when Future's not here.
Oh yeah, I saw it. I chose to ignore it, but thanks for calling it out. Okay, you can pun.
Boiled shrimp's just trying to add a little bit of spice to the chat.
Is that like a shrimp boil joke?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, you're Louisiana folk, I guess. Speaking of which, don't forget to follow our runners. Check them out, give them a follow. And if you're new to the randomizer, come check out our Discord. Lots of helpful people on there can get you started. We've got beginner's guides. We have a brand new wiki that our creator, Atmatech, just published a few days ago. Lots of useful information in there. So if you want to get started, that'd be a great place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing a lot of documentation. It's coming out, so it's really trying to make it newbie friendly. It already is, and going to continue doing that stuff. A lot of good people working on that.
It's an exciting addition. We had a lot of community written guides, but no one single source of truth, so to speak. So it's good to have something localized that everybody can kind of contribute to. So Mr. Entity following up Swerb. Actually, I guess he's following Zelfer, who's himself already on the way to the ancient castle. And looks like Druid is heading there as well. So I guess technically Swerve's in the lead right now.
Yeah, it's looking like still kind of doing that straight line like we expected it to. See if there's any kind of branching out here, but the danger you run into, especially with 0 required espers, is that since there are more espers than characters, you're going to end up with a lot of checks that are essentially dead to you. Now, there are some espers you want calmness mitigation for the final battle, but a lot of this is just going to be wasted time. So it's going to be whether or not people basically got lucky and did the quick checks, or the checks where you can see what you're going to get before you commit to it.
Yep. And it'll be a good idea to utilize those to save some time, because there are, as you may imagine, quite a few dead checks. Dead as far as the requirements are concerned. So a lot of time can be saved just by noping out. Oh, so Zelferluck TM got himself a Minerva from that Pugs in a box. So that'll be quite helpful. Got Jack squat when I did it, as usual.
Of course he did. In the race he did, the practice seed he did right before this race, he got 2 from that battle. So
really he's kind of down on his luck.
Well, he doesn't want to be too showy, If the knowledge of Zelferluck gets out too much, people are going to start accusing you of things. So.
How could anybody? Well, I'm sure somebody could. We have a question in chat from Boiled Shrimp. Did anyone ever figure out the number to crack those cursed shields? I don't know if so. Nth says 17. I don't know if he's throwing out a rando number. No, not throwing out a random. So I unlocked a shield myself, and it certainly didn't seem like 17 fights to me. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I just, that didn't sound right to me. But we had a crazy explanation from Cecil in the Discord on how it works if you have multiple cursed shields, which you can in this seed because they do show up in a shop. And it's some goofy formula because the game never intended you to have more than one. So I guess it depends on how many you have.
See, what you do there is whenever Nth says 17, you say, our researchers have said that it's 17. That way you're not on the hook and it sounds like you know what you're talking about.
Good plan. So let's see. Oh, look. Swerb has found Katana Soul. Not employing the Noise Blaster strat, so I guess he either didn't find a Noise Blaster or maybe he doesn't know about it. But as mentioned, Katana Soul, dangerous enemy. Almost took out 2 characters there, but he's going to get himself a tasty offering for that fixed dice. And a pretty decent amount of money.
Yeah, he's getting some good Super Ball rolls there. 17 factorial. Okay, well, that I would like to see. That's what we need in one of these seeds. I don't know how much 17 factorial is, but I think it's going to extend past our 48-hour streaming window.
Let's see. Zelfer found himself a snail. So he's choosing to fight these rather than maybe he doesn't. I don't know. He's fighting instead of running. And Swerb made it all the way through the collapsing house, which gives him Modwin.
And Zelfer running into my favorite bug in this game, or not bug, but weird situation where whenever you X zone presenter, sometimes you can get the shell, but not the head, and it's just kind of hanging out there. But
that is pretty cool.
All right, Classy Badger, you got some free time. Why don't you go ahead and start on that, and you let us know whenever you uncurse.
Oh, is that all?
I mean, in the vanilla game, that's how many battles it feels like it takes to decurse. So,
man, you ain't woofing. Although I never bothered. Honestly, when I was a kid, I don't even think I knew about it. Later in life, saw the requirements and just said, who needs it? So I never even used a Paladin shield until this randomizer.
Yeah, I think my friend that let me borrow Final Fantasy III had the Nintendo Power for it, so I think we knew all these cool things. Looks like Zelfer's going to do the collapsing house here and see what he gets. Not going to be a character.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so the end of this is the Modwin Esper, like we saw on Swerve's screen. And he's off to the old Imperial camp, where he'll also get not much. I think it's I want to say Pearl Lance? No, Economizer? That's something terrible.
And I think we get our first look at the real villain of this game, Cid from Final Fantasy IV. The true monster.
A lot of monsters in boxes in this seed. Drulith is trying to get himself a Minerva while Zelfer just took out Katana Soul for his offering.
And Drulith is doing my favorite blitz, invalid input. One I do more than any other.
Highly effective.
Oh, it's gotten me through many a seed.
Had upsetting you. Swerve picked up his Pearl Lance, which is good news if you want to employ the jump strats. But considering he has the aforementioned Ragnarok and Fixed Dice and Offering, I'm not sure we'll see it, at least not yet. Actually, I guess I can't be sure. Did Swerve pick up that Ragnarok? Did we see? I don't know if he went to the Returner's hideout.
I did not see.
We'll find out soon enough.
That's not soon enough.
Well, you're just gonna have to wait. Looks like he might get himself an Aura Lance pretty soon. If fall faster. Jump, swerve. If he can make it through Poltergeist. There we go. It was a long setup for that. Oh, look, Mr. Entity's suplexing a dragon.
Another
Spicy
decent
chicken.
Super Ball roll.
Spicy Chicken surfing a wave here. Not having luck with these Super Balls, but we do love that mimic capability.
Oh, it's wonderful for consumables.
Especially in early Super Balls, it's an underrated and pretty overpowered strat to have Super Balls and a mimic. If you can make them endless, especially in these early days when you can deal up to 4,000 something damage at level 3, you can, as noticed by taking out that spicy chicken, you can get through pretty much anything.
Yeah, and look, I'm no professional. If I did the seed, it'd be after turkey dinner by the time I get done with it. But I like Go-Go. I think Go-Go is kind of underrated, and he's getting a little bit more respect. But just that ability to mimic throwing items, the ability to have other commands like sword tech or whatnot. To me, Go-Go is really great. It's true that you can't level up his abilities with Espers, but I think that his versatility kind of outweighs that, at least for me.
Yeah, I understand the argument, and I can't say that you're wrong. However, the only reason I don't like him is by the time you get to the end of the game, he feels so underpowered because everybody else has leveled up via Espers and whatnot. So it just feels like a waste of a spot, but only at the end of the game. He's very useful up front. I usually just tend to ditch him around, level 20 or 30.
Yeah, and he can be dangerous if you take him to Kefka's tower if you're relying on magic, since he only has the magic of other people in his immediate party and not the group as a whole.
Right. But able to equip a lot of equipment and can cast all that magic and, like you said, do pretty much any other ability. So definitely has some good utility.
Looks like Zelfer's going to get himself a spicy chicken while Swerve's checking out the Phantom Train.
When I did this first spicy chicken fight, spoiler alert, this first spicy chicken fight, my 3 Super Balls in a row, I think I had 2 in a row do 256 damage and a third one do 512, and then I wiped. Took me 2 tries. I was not pleased with it.
Yeah, that's about my luck with Super Balls.
And that's correct, Classy Badger. Your boy Gao gets no love. None whatsoever.
Man, especially with these randomized commands, Gao can be really hit or be really, really miss.
Really miss, as evidenced by a week or 2 ago when he had double slots. No thanks. I will give him this. He's 1/2 step above Umaro, who's like just the absolute worst.
I will never forgive Umaro for attacking me at the end of every ski-free run I did as a kid.
I'll never forgive him for attacking every Welk and everything else that has a counter attack. He sucks. Stop using him. No Esper bonuses there either. Sometimes you can't even equip him. It's just, no thanks. So let's see.
Hero ring.
Yeah, checking out. So he's actually doing the Phantom Train, which, if I recall correctly, is an Esper. So, am I right on that? Let me check the old sheet here. Phantom Train, Esper, Ifrit. Yes. So, I don't recall if it had a bonus on it, but I hope so. If he's going all the way through the check. But I remember scumming right out of this particular check. Oh look, is this even randomized?
All right. So Swerve may continue the run. He's going to suplex the train. So this is a valid run by Swerve.
Maybe this was for our benefit. maybe he knew that there was a train at the end of this train station, which would make sense. And he just
knew he
wanted to
didn't
show
have to do it.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do it, but he did it anyway.
He's taking one for
Good
the
job.
team, for all of you guys. It's for all of you out there. Make sure to tell Swerve how much you appreciate him.
Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide races are as much an art as they are a skill.
Ah, okay. I think I found out what happened. I'm not sure Swerve knows that that you can check what the reward is at the beginning of the train, because it won't tell you anything if you've picked it up from the caboose. You've already gotten it. So, or rather, it won't tell you anything when you destroy it, when you beat the boss. And when he just beat the boss, he got a message saying he obtained Ifrit, which means he didn't check it in the caboose. So it may just be a knowledge thing.
Yeah, I'm with it. I thought, I was like, oh, did I just not notice? But no, okay, he didn't check it.
Yeah, so that's one of those little tips that, especially in a seed like this, where you don't need those espers, that knowing that sort of thing can save you a lot of time. Because then you just don't have to do the check at all.
And Drulith employing your favorite strats to kill Katana Soul and get an offering.
All right, so everybody's just about everybody's rocking it. If Mr. Entity checks the monsters in boxes here, I believe it's in the room with the boy, so we'll see if he goes for it. And then there'll be all 4 people with, the thing the offering.
So be honest, have you ever forgotten the kid? Because I have forgotten the kid.
No, I've never actually forgotten the kid, but I've definitely forgotten to check a few monsters in boxes when I meant to, and then found out after the seed that, yep, that's where it was, what you were looking for. But
if it was a dog or a cat, I wouldn't forget it. But the kid, I'm like, okay.
Do you really want to save this brat? Let's see. Does offering work with a dragon horn if you have jump as a natural command? Dragonhorn, I don't know specifically, but I do know that using an offering in jump is a bad idea because of math the game does. That's about as specific as I can get for you, but there is a natural bonus to using jump and when using a lance with jump, and I think it kind of overwrites those in some weird fashion, and you'll just end up doing not a lot of damage. So the current recommendation is to just not use an offering when you jump.
So my completely non-professional understanding of this is that an offering essentially changes fight into X fight, so it does not modify jump. This is the way I understand it. It's what I tell myself every night before I go to sleep. I just repeat it until I fall asleep.
Huh. Well, some people count sheep. Some people think of weird things from video games. We all have our thing. So, let's see. Zelfer just did Mount Colts, which gave him a useless Esper. And Mr. Entity just finished the Collapsing House, which got him the Modwin Esper, which does have a strength bonus on it, so that's at least useful. Oh, yeah, so good to point out that bosses in this seed are random. They're not shuffled, meaning, as you eagle-eye viewers out there have already picked up on, we can see the same boss more than once, and we definitely will. Zelfer just took down Poltergeist, aka Spicy Chicken, aka Hot Wings. That one's just for future. Took it down a second time. And I believe there's a third one lurking around in this seed somewhere.
Speaking of future and this flag set, a long time ago, one of the first races I remember this kind of stuff on, Future rolled a seed, and I believe there were 5 or 6 goddess fights that were required.
That sounds about like him.
Because he had random bosses on and not shuffled, so it can get bad.
Yeah, random bosses not always. They're not my favorite. I like to know that once I've taken out something really annoying, that I'm not going to have to do it again. But it does add some intrigue, and so there are multiple. Depending on the checks people take, there are multiple bosses we're going to see multiple times. Funny how that works out. There's 50 some odd bosses, and we see the same one 2-3 times.
Yeah, I'm with Classy on this. I play this game. I don't race. That's why I don't have a stream or anything whenever they do the restream command. I just play this for fun and to relax, and 15 goddesses or Magimasters is not relaxing to me.
Yeah, I could see that. So now this is interesting. Druith is in the auction house, going for he's going to buy some espers, and now my assumption here is he's going to hope that he picks up an esper with a great bonus on it that nobody else is going to get, because espers again are not required for this seed and they won't grant any spells. So the only thing he could be hoping for is a bonus, but I'm not sure. Actually, you know what? I don't know what the bonuses are on the auction house espers. I've been routing a seed for an upcoming race we're doing where we have a spoiler log, and I'm conflating my two seeds. So maybe it will end up paying off for him. Maybe Inf will be able to tell us.
Yeah, Rav, that's what I was thinking. Maybe he wants Fenrir, Golem, or Palador, but man, he's this generation's Kenny Rogers, because that's a gambling move right there.
Yeah, this is even so in the world of Ruin, the auctions don't repeat. So rather, they don't repeat if you buy it. So once you buy it, it's out, and then your chances of getting an Esper go up. So it's not exactly, it doesn't take a long time unless you get really bad luck with that Emperor bot, but it's certainly not quick to try to get some Espers that aren't offering any, speaking of offering, apparently that was what for sale at the auction house, so now he's got 2 offerings. But not gonna get him any closer to Kefka's tower in this seed. But for my run, I did not find any Calmness protection. I got no Phantom, no Palador, no Golem, or Fenrir. So I just kind of had to take it. Luckily, they only killed Gogo, so we were fine.
It's acceptable losses. And Zelfer found Realm, looks like, or the murder child as she's known around the community.
Not going to be as murdery today, considering we have no magic. However, I guess that's technically not true. Could equip her with those elemental shields and learn some tier 2 spells. But I believe she can also equip the fixed dice, I think. So if you wanted to switch off of Gogo, she may be a candidate.
Yeah, and you just put double earrings on her, and it looks like Madeline. So maybe he's going to try some. We're going to see some Esper casting as a damage form here. That'll be interesting.
Could be. Although interesting that Madeline has a strength bonus on that, and he doesn't want it for any of his other characters. So that's interesting. So Mr. Entity just took down his own spicy chicken, while Swerb finds spicy number 2. A spicy
Peanut.
number 2. That's my order at Wendy's.
Thanks. Okay, that wasn't going where I thought it was going to go, and
no, this is
we're all the better for it. Yeah, Peanut Gallery's out in force in chat there, showing showing some support for future.
Yeah, I don't care for where this community is headed. I think an intervention may be required. So Zelfer has hit up the Esper Mountain check, seen that it's not a character, and is indeed noping right out. Which means, I think at this point, he's got Owzers and Kefka at Narsh left to check.
Oh, and he's got to be excited about both those.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to do Owzers. And I think Kefka at Narsh is indeed a character, but I'm not sure it's a required one.
Like Swerve finishes off Spicy Chicken, and Drew is going after the dragon in the tower, I'm assuming.
Interesting. I guess, you got Super Balls available to you. Why not get it out of the way? Especially when things are relatively low leveled. When I came here, I happened to have about 5 different elemental shields and a couple rods. Yep, he's just going to make the Super Ball play and mimic. So that's not a bad strategy. And there is a character here, so although he doesn't have Drago.
Yeah, so he's not going to be able to actually get the character.
Huh. Yeah, so just that's an interesting strategy. maybe, well, either he's just going for a quick dragon boost, or he forgot that he doesn't have Strago. We'll see if he goes all the way to the top. Mr. Entity checking out the Phantom Train. See if, I'm sure he'll go check that caboose. Except he's going a weird way.
Now that's a nice Valiant knife for Drew there, and from that dragon, so.
Oh, yes. Great pickup, and I believe Sabin can use it. When I did my run, I forgot that my iteration of Sabin was useless at the time, and I accidentally put him in his own solo party in Kefka's Tower. So I'm glad I had that Valiant knife waiting, and I think that's what actually got me through this seat.
Okay, so it looks like Drew was just there for that dragon. That's interesting play, but
yeah. So 6 dragons required. So that gets one out of the way, but can't make any progress in the seed with it as far as opening up more checks. So probably would have been advisable to wait until you found Strago, but maybe he's counting on not getting there, and this early dragon boost can provide, makes your boss battles go a lot faster because you're out leveling the seed. So
looks like Cyan is behind the Demon Pasta on Zelfer's screen. So Classy Bender says Sid turned to evil. I don't know. Some of the free enterprise runners I know, they say he was already.
The Final Fantasy IV iteration of Sid I like it. He's got that weird hat and goggles. Looks like he's about ready to be shot out of a cannon.
He looks like the kind of guy that would just be hammering away on some kind of mechanical monstrosity. So he looks like a hands-on engineer.
As opposed to like Final Fantasy VII Sid, who just looks like, he does have the stogie, which I absolutely love, and he's a Dragoon, which is even better, but, is that the Sid we've come to know and love? I don't know.
Sid will always be in a banana suit to me.
He'll always be dead from eating rotten fish for me.
Yeah, the last time I did a vanilla playthrough, I want to say that took me about 20-25 minutes. I got horrible luck on that, and it was rough, and I thought he was going to die despite my best efforts.
I thought you say you were going to, despite your... Never mind. We've got 2 more spicy chickens going on. 1 for each Mr. Entity and Drew. This is
we picked up a 2-for-1 coupon.
I was going to say, it's like a 20-piece in this race.
Sounds like Boo and I need to get something to eat after this.
I got a Popeyes right down the road too, but I haven't been there in like 20 years, so I'm guessing I won't like it.
You're a horrible person.
It's Louisiana food,
Yeah, all those monsters.
So we're checking out Doma Castle in the world of Balance on Zelfer's screen, and he's found himself a Celis. And for it, he just needs to beat even more. What'd you call him? Demon Pasta?
That sounds like something I would say.
So, another multiple on this seat, I'm pretty sure. Another multiple boss, I mean. Those dice are making quick work of it.
So Celeste is really neat because that's going to open the seat up a lot more. She has a lot of different checks you can do, and then it's going to be in your preference of, well, we're early on. I still need 3 characters. Do I try to do the Magitech Factory? Opera House is always interesting. So she's going to open this up a little bit.
Yep. So only one available opportunity for a character in the Magitech Factory. Something I forgot until I was like halfway through because I was on autopilot. So probably not one they'd want to check first, considering you have to go all the way through it to see if there's a character. So I'm betting they're going to go in more of the other check. I would think that'd be the last check they make.
See, and as a non-racer, I like doing that because it gets me power. Even though I know it's only going to be 1 character, in this situation, it's still going to be, 3 bosses and 3 fixed fights?
Yep. And that'll help you on your quest to hit level 90 before going into Kefka's Tower.
And that's where you need to be, at least.
At least. I mean,
Someone like Drew may be comfortable at 88, 89, but I always play it safe.
I won't even sniff Kefka's tower until I see 2 9s in front of every character. I think Zilfer picked up another Esper, or perhaps an Economizer in South Figaro, so let's check.
And as an adult, Classy.
And Mr. Entity has climbed Narsh Mountain, checking out the Kefka Narsh fight. Quiet Dog.
I believe the term you're looking for is Hush Puppy.
I know there's a character there. Otherwise, oh yeah, it's Realm. That's what it is. We've already seen that once.
Yep, Mr. Entity trying to dodge some of the robos from Chrono Trigger.
And Zelfer
Filling
is
in for the
indeed,
Umbrella.
oh, sorry. Zelfer is indeed checking out the Opera House first. And I would be surprised. Let's see. I think after this, there's only 2 options. I don't know. Has he done Mount Zozo yet? I don't think he's done Mount Zozo yet, so he'll probably go there next. And then his only 2 options will be the Science Dream or Magitech Factory. And the smart money is to check out Science Dream first, because you can find out if that has a character less than halfway through the check, where again the Magitech Factory is all the way at the end. So that's what I expect to see, because the Opera House isn't going to help him out here, but we'll see.
It looks like no one's done Mount Zozo yet. So Zelfer's doing the Opera House. How many times do you hit the wrong switch in the Opera House?
As far as I can remember, I've done it twice. I don't often go to the Opera House. It's kind of a long check, so I usually try to avoid it. And if you do it early and you get through all these battles and then you get to a boss that you can't beat, that's just a whole lot of wasted time. So I typically avoid this one. I did it this seed because, again, like my only options were, I think, Science Dream and Magitech Factory. So when I have to. But yes, I definitely, and then you forget what world you're in, or you get on autopilot thinking you go and fight a dragon and you hit the wrong switch. It's just, who knows?
Well, no matter what happens, you can always hit that leftmost switch and you get a nice dog bark.
Or hit the middle switch and, is that the one where the
Turns
lights go out?
go out.
Yeah. Which is kind of fun.
Especially in a race for the Kefka Grand Prix.
Speaking of which, for those of you just joined us, we're running the official Round 5 Worlds Collide Kefka Grand Prix race. This is an asynchronous race outside of this particular stream, as in we've got about 45 people all signed up, running the race at their leisure, but we're doing twice weekly restreams. We'll have this one today, and I believe we have another one. Do we keep it on Friday, or do we move it to Saturday? Do you know?
I believe it is on Friday.
Thanksgiving is potentially messing with some stuff. But okay, I've been told, researchers have showed us that it's still on Friday. So what time is that? Nth or Classy? 7 p.m. Eastern, same time. So come check it out on Friday. We'll have 4 more runners doing the same race. You can see if any paths diverge. See who's doing it the fastest. And then we, at the end of the week, we get all of our racers' times, organize it, fastest to slowest, and then we do kind of a Mario Kart style point system, rather than just booting people out of the race from week to week. Give everybody a chance to keep running the whole race, the whole tournament, and then our top 4 runners at the end of week 8 will enter a battle royale style tournament where we do boot one out every week until we crown a winner.
Yeah, and speaking of our scoring system, this is a really interesting race here because we have Zelfer's currently in first place, Drew is currently in third place, and who knows who's in second place, but whoever.
No telling.
There's no way to know.
There's literally no way to know.
So this has a lot of implications, and Boo may or may not be using his commentator's curse on these 2 guys.
Well, I'm seeing Zelfer has indeed chosen the wise path, which is to go to Science Dream first, as that one, as mentioned, you can see if it's a character kind of halfway through, and then he'll probably warp out when he sees it's not. The problem is he's still on, as usual, a pretty good pace. So he's not in any danger of dropping here, but it kind of depends on how the rest of this goes. I'm not sure how great his defense is. We'll have to see what his levels look like once he finally finds his last characters. But they're making good time.
Well, I guess, 55 minutes in, I could talk about what I alluded to earlier with Zelfer. So earlier in the week, he's been doing a lot of strategizing on going to the Coliseum in this flag set. Because it is a time divided by 3 seed, you have a little bit of time to play around with. And as the enemies gain levels, you get more experience for fighting them. So there can be some strategy in delaying your actual combat. So what he's been doing, and he's been getting pretty lucky with it, is going to the Coliseum, which is randomized in Worlds Collide with this flag set, and betting a potion and getting an Illumina, and you have to fight a Lobo for it. If you can get lucky with it, you can get a lot of power really quickly. And he was spending 5 to 10 minutes and ending up with a lot of good stuff.
Well, it looks like he chickened out this time.
Well, I kept asking him, I'm like, are you going to do this in a race? Can you do this in a race? Maybe.
Yeah. It's a gamble, because there's no list as far as I know. I mean, outside the spoiler log that tells you what you're going to get. So you kind of just have to throw something in there and hope for something good. And then it's hope it's something you can kill.
Yeah, and if you get Edgar and he's got a chainsaw and he tries to do instant death or something weird like that, you can get yourself in trouble in the Coliseum since you don't control the characters.
Yep. And even if you can survive, you can kind of get yourself in this loop of just not being able to finish the fight. So yeah, it's an interesting strategy. It could certainly pay off if you. I don't think I would employ it unless I knew what I was going to get, but I could see people going for it and paying off, and I can see people going for it and have a waste a whole lot of time.
Game Boy asks, what are Sid and 15 Robos doing in Narsh? Worlds are colliding.
We've smashed Final Fantasy IV into Final Fantasy V, and I don't know that you'll see much else of it in this seed, but there are other options as far as sprites go.
Oh yeah, we've got so many different options, and I don't know what 99% of them are from, but they look really neat. And if you're interested in Worlds Collide and you want to roll a seed and have custom characters, you can pick all kind of Pokemon and whatever else there are.
And other video games. We've got a few spriters in the community that really enjoy making sprites that fit into the game. So a lot of options available.
Yeah, I saw a bird, and I think it was the seed of the week, and it was a Pokemon and a bird and some other stuff.
Yeah, I've been a bird before. I mean, somebody. I think it was a seed of the week that Dark Fells rolled that had he put community members into the seed and made me a bird for some reason. I was a little offended, but I'm not sure why.
Well, you are crowing on about it.
I'm going cuckoo?
They're perfect.
So, all right. The Zelfer has taken down Mr. Chupon here. Was that the Stooges bot? No, he went all the way through. So that's interesting. He saw that it wasn't a character, but decided to go through with it anyway. I don't believe we have a sword tech user, and it wasn't a character. So he's just looking for espers now to help him out. I guess he's looking for some calmness protection, some bonuses, kind of like what we talked about near the beginning of the seed. But that's some extra time that's really not gonna move him too far forward.
So how desperate are you in a seed like this or any seed to try to find one of those really nice calmness protectors, the golems and the Fenrir's and whatnot? Like, are you going to go out of your way, spend a few minutes to try to find them, or are you just going to go to Kefka's Tower?
No, the odds are way too low that you'll actually find one. If you don't have it by the time you're ready to go, then I just take my chances. There's a good chance that even if I get 2 characters killed to calmness, that 2 will be enough to defeat Kefka. If I'm in such bad shape that losing 2 characters will lose the whole fight for me, then I'll probably spend my time finding other stuff to get me through the whole fight, because that means I'm in bad shape. So it's just 1 out of 27 chance. And also we've got items, we've got other characters you might find. Going hunting for that is not time friendly.
Looks like Zelfer's going to go to Mount Zozo.
Like if you have Illuminas, for example, or Paladin shields and whatnot, they give you a lot of magic evade, or excuse me, regular evade. You kind of just roll the dice, take your chances, and hope calmness misses. And that'd be my advice.
So Zelfer and Mount Zozo, Drulith is doing Ulcer's Mansion. So Swerve is in Cyan's Dream, and Mr. Empty is going into Zozo as well. So hopefully everybody has warp stones. Unless they have to do the Walk of Shame.
There were warp stones available, I think, in like South Figaro, so they were hopefully easy to find for most people. Although not everybody checks the item shop in South Figaro. It is a little out of the way. And of course there are other places, but that's where I got mine, so I stopped looking after that.
Yeah, warp stone's one of those things you're always on the lookout for, because some of these walkbacks, they can be pretty rough. This is a bad one. The one for Terra in Zozo is bad. I'm not sure what the worst one is, but these can get pretty bad.
And as a surprise to no one, Zelfer one-shots a dragon with basically one fixed dice roll. Gets Flame Shield for his trouble, which is going immediately on Realm for some casting. No surprise there. And let's see, what's Mr. Entity up to? He's still climbing Mount Zozo as Drew finds him some demon pasta, right?
Let's go with it. Like I said, it sounds like something I would say. Poor Zelfer.
I just assumed that was a thing. Yeah, so there was a dragon up here, which he needed to fight anyway, so this isn't a huge time waste, but it's not going to get him anything that he's going to be excited about.
There you go, Demon Pasta, Danger Noodles. I like both.
Danger Noodles has a good ring to it. So does Demon Pasta. Let's think of a few more. Chat, throw out your best tentacles, your nicknames.
Suspicious Spaghetti.
I said chat.
I'm chatting with you?
Fair enough. Mr. Entity leaping all over. Oh, he's got many lords leaping. Mimic it. He didn't mimic it. That's fine. But he is taking out his own Skull Dragon. Skull Dragon, not one of the more threatening dragons. One you usually want to see early.
That looks like Zelfer's going to the Magitech factory and see. I mean, if he's going after a character, like you say, he's going to have to do the final check. So,
yeah, I think this is his last check, so he knows it's here, and he knows he's going to have to go all the way through it. And so we have. Okay, hang on. In the chat, Tangleworms, good. Frightening Fettuccine, not so much. To answer Classy Badger's question, yes, jumps, I assume you meant, can trigger weapon procs. And of course, Radlin, you can DM me your best stuff.
I appreciate the alliteration, Boiled Shrimp.
So Drew is in the up on Mount Zozo as well. We're converging again. Ludicrous Linguini, but you have to spell it like the rapper, like Ludicrous Linguini. And then I'll still hate it, but it'll be funnier. And Mr. Entity is sad that he found an item. And Swerve is going all the way through the Science Dream check as well, which is fairly surprising. That's one where you can definitely tell it's a character early, and I guess they're just going for levels. They're going for more helpful espers and just make their way through it. But the most efficient thing to do here would be to just reset the game and go somewhere else.
How much does stubbornness play into that, into your decision that, I'm just going to keep pushing through, I'm not going to reset? Like, as a racer, do you feel like resetting is somehow cheaping out?
Yeah, not really. Although at the beginning, let's say when I was kind of a newer player, it wasn't so much stubbornness in that I just didn't want to reset at any cost. It was more like, well, I'm already here. Maybe there's something good. Maybe this Esper I'll get from it, or maybe this item I'll get for it will be worth my time. But the odds of that are just so low, especially with flags like this, where it might have in normal circumstances, maybe it'll be a hot Esper with Fire 3 Ultima and Mute or something useful on it. Then sure, maybe. But more often than not, it's just not worth it, and you have to kind of have the discipline to say, nope, I'm out.
Yep, tray number 2 for Zelfer, and Ultros 4 and Chupon on Swerve, or as some people call him, Coupon.
Because he clips you away. Like clipping coupons. Am I good at this?
Participation award.
No. Thanks, Classy. All right.
Everyone's a critic.
That's okay. I don't pun good.
It's hard to come up with new Final Fantasy VI puns. I realized that a couple weeks into typing them in chat. I'm like, wait, these are getting stale.
Yeah, we've seen somebody made a terrible Terra-Bowl comment earlier, and
that's week 1 stuff. Come on, this is week 5.
It's rookie moves here. Come harder. Okay, so Zelfer making his way down into the bottom of Magitek Factory. Well, where he will indeed find that character waiting for him. Swerve is sitting at 5 characters, Mr. Entity's at 6, and Drew's at 5, just about to get his 6. So we got a pretty tight race here.
If you're Swerve or Zelfer, are you looking at 10 Espers and 8 Espers and thinking, oh man, I got to be behind. I'm in trouble?
I would think... I would. I don't know if they are, because they're probably assuming that everybody else is going through these same checks, which is fair. I just, don't know if they're... I would think they're probably not finishing them, and then I could be doing it faster. That's what I would think, but I wouldn't think you're in too bad a shape by usually having a few more Espers isn't a terrible thing. Because you usually find them there's a lot more Espers than there are characters in the game, so you usually find them on the way to, your next progression. But in this case, yeah, I'd be feeling behind. Although, probably not in Zelfer's case, because he knows he's super fast at this game.
Yeah, that's true, and he's fighting the ever-dangerous Lobo.
Yeah, I don't remember fighting Lobos here. I'm pretty sure I got something a lot harder. No, probably not, but it wasn't Lobos.
And Lawrence makes an appearance for Zelda.
Good old Lawrence Welk. I get it.
Ask your great-grandparents about that, if you don't know what I'm talking about. The first time I made that joke in a chat, they thought I was talking about Lawrence Taylor, the football player.
Why?
I don't know.
He's built like a football player with that big
No,
shell?
I think they just thought that Lawrence Welk was the name of the football player.
Oh, okay. That's weird. Worth pointing out that on the way to that Welk check in Magitek Factory was an Illumina. That was the award for boss number 2, so that will come in very handy later on, because as mentioned, it's not only a great weapon, but it's really great defensively too. It can get you not all on its own, but combined with a few other items, it can get you through calmness pretty easily. And we have found spicy chicken number 3.
And he got Strago for his trouble, which I'm sure Zelfer is really pumped about.
Super stoked, for sure. So I'll give him character number 7. Still got one more to go. And anybody just joining us, make sure to give our runners a follow. I know a couple of these guys do stream a lot and do a lot of other games as well. Mr. Entity is big into what is it, bargain bin games, I believe, and some board games,
Yes.
and he's got all kind of content on there.
He also plays a lot of Mega Man X Randomizer, which is interesting. Drunken Mega Man X.
Oh, yeah. So I'm sure you'd appreciate a follow, as would our other runners, and check out our commentating crew. Our crew, I guess. That's probably what the C stands for. Anth's doing a great job on the trackers. I mean, I assume it's a great job. We'll see if they're accurate. Just kidding, Anth. I know you're good. You're doing a real solid, pretty decent job.
You guys are really snailing those Welk comments in chat. Appreciate it. Look, there's a certain crowd that really would have landed well with.
Yeah, they're not here. But that Mr. Entity his Dragoon just landed really well right on top of that thing's face in the Opera House. That wasn't too bad.
Looks like Zelfer's going to try the lesser of all evils with Strago and do the tower to get Mog. That'll be his 8th character and be able to kill a dragon. So this will be make the tower a little bit sweeter in this case.
Yeah, that's where I ended up as well. Luckily, he's got Realm with a few tier 2 spells and plenty of breakables at this point to where this shouldn't be an issue for him. But yeah, the Fanatics Tower, not a place you really want to end up in a seed with no magic. It's not a place you want to end up in any seed, let alone a seed with no magic. Just the climb alone is bad enough.
Yep, just ask Barrett from Final Fantasy VII. Nobody likes winding stairs.
You can take the elevator.
Never take the elevator. You got to do it for the memes. Swerve getting a pincer fight and having to use a smoke bomb. Best way to get out of a pincer fight. Otherwise, he'd have to kill one of the sides before he could run away. Yep, boiled shrimp. They're terrible in this game. They're terrible in real life. Just no bueno.
Conquered Stair Boss round 1. And then he has a break here at whatever this check is, and then Stair Boss number 2 on the way out. Also, Classy Badger, escargot, surprisingly tasty. I mean, it pretty much tastes like garlic butter because that's what it's always swimming in, which is probably the only thing that makes it palatable. And I present to all of you spicy chicken number 4.
We should have had Future make us a spicy chicken counter.
That would have gotten more use than our Mog Stumble counter, which was disappointing, but necessary.
If he hadn't put it in there, we would have seen 50 of them.
Most likely, sir. I don't know, though. I wonder, did you catch the next restream? I wonder if that one got any use.
I did not.
So we're using scaled enemy abilities in this seed, rather scaled element. So depending on player level or progression is how much, what abilities the bosses have access to, and they will stay within their same element, just scaled up and down. For example, if they usually cast a Bolt 2 and you're level 3, they'll probably kick it down to just Bolt 1. So you can see there that the spicy chicken just use a random blowfish and sandstorm on Zelfer's party there, which, you know, if you know the vanilla game, is odd to see. But that's where that comes from.
So Zelfer is going to be good on characters here in a second, and now he's going to have to find 2 more dragons out in the world, and presumably the 2 in the tower.
Yep, I think there is. Has he done the dragon fight in the tower yet? Yeah, not yet. So he's going to take this one out, and then So there are 2 more quick ones. So Narsh Mountain is relatively quick. So you kind of have to make the choice. Do you want to go for the Narsh Mountain climb to take out that dragon with a full party, or risk... Uh-oh. That's the doorbell.
It's like Drew's found Inferno, always a fun enemy here. Zelfer gets to fight a blue dragon.
There we go. As I was saying, risk doing a dragon solo with maybe a character who doesn't have the offense or defense required. So, gonna have to make a decision there.
Looks like Swerve's going to check the Magitech factory. Should be happy with what he finds eventually.
We've got to deal with the rampaging doggo. Be right back.
Zelfer putting some nice wear and tear on his controller, and Mr. Entity just enjoying the shopping experience. You know, you go, you browse, you window shop for warp stones or whatever. You just really, you take them in. You really check over the warp stone, make sure it's nice and artisanal, you know, shaped the way you want it. It's an important thing to check.
Okay, we back.
Drew gonna take a Delta hit. Oh, maybe not. Nice try, Inferno.
Not this time.
But most times. Zelfer gonna get the second worst character in the game.
I don't know about that. First of all, we've already established that Umaro is the worst, Gao is second worst, and then probably Gogo, and then Strago, and then probably Mog.
What hurtful person is making these lists?
Me. But Mog has one great benefit that is often overlooked, which is he is guaranteed to be able to hold a lance. So, obvious Dragoon choice, which catapults him at least 4 spots on its own.
You wouldn't say that he jumps 4 spots?
I mean, I wouldn't. You could.
I mean, Mog's standing in the community might have taken a little bit of a bruising last week, but you know, time heals all wounds.
He's a bit of a fan favorite. I believe we have some people in the community with Moogle tattoos.
He's got the passionate fans. Look, I don't know if you remember. I don't know how many people in chat are old enough to remember this, but when Final Fantasy III in the US came out, they had commercials. And the commercial for Final Fantasy III was Mog, who sounded like a 1920s Chicago gangster interviewing Monster. Everybody wondered, what the heck is this video game about?
Wow. You know, I think you and I are the same age, and I have no recollection of that commercial whatsoever. That's interesting.
It was weird. It was weird. And he like turned him to dust and put him in the video game. And I remember as a kid thinking, what the heck is this?
Weird. I'm going to have to find that on YouTube. I don't recall that at all. But I do remember the Final Fantasy III box. You know, Mog was the star of the show on there.
Oh, yeah. He's right there, you know, right on the front of the cartridge.
So, Drulith is heading down the Magitech factory. I don't know where Swerve is at the moment. Mr. Entity is going to go do some shopping, probably. As is Zelfer.
Yep, Drew and Swerve on their way to get the stray goat, as most people like to call him.
Define most? You and Keith? You and Keith, got it.
Listen, Keith changed his avatar to something that was not Strago, so I'm starting to count my doubts. Yeah, it's Cactar now, I think.
Lost one of the faithful.
Yeah, everyone but Boo. Zelfer, listen, every stream, Zelfer's talking about Strago. So
Zelfer and I stand together on this one. I know we have a long history of what do you call it? A long-standing rivalry, and we're the worst of enemies, but we both hate Strago.
The things that can bring 2 superpowers together.
So let's. Oh yeah, he's climbing the mountain. He's going to go take out that dragon for number 5 because he's concerned, I would assume, about being able to solo a dragon. It's not. Sometimes it's not even just firepower. You can have someone you know can take out a dragon. Matter of fact, he probably knows he can take out a dragon since dragons are scaled and they're kind of too easy when they're scaled. But The problems arise when you run into something like an ice dragon, which can just freeze you, and then you're just wasting 5 minutes sitting there like a goon, or you have to reset. So sometimes it's just a better idea to take out a dragon with a full party to make sure no shenanigans occur.
So I'm not sure on this, but since the bosses are random and not shuffled, are the dragons also random and not shuffled?
They are also random, yep. Dragons count as bosses in that regard.
Yeah, so if you run into something nasty like Skull Dragon again.
Yeah, we can and will see multiple dragons. So Drew is going for the updated approach. I guess he forgot that in this particular seed, the undead flag is turned off, so you can just chuck a revivify on that dude and kill him dead. But to be fair, it's a flag we don't often play with anymore, so I can't fault anybody for forgetting.
Well,
and
that's
really wrong, and I'm thinking of my ratted seed again.
Let me check, but I mean that brings up a good point that it's important to always read the flags, especially if you're going to do a race. I know we had a few weeks ago we had a instance where there was a blocker of an Intangier, which you could run from because everything was runnable, but people were so used to it not being runnable that I think virtually everybody stayed and tried to fight, and it was just really rough. So it's important when you're racing to read those flags and make sure you understand them.
Oh yeah, everybody on stream was really wrestling with those Intangiers. First thing I ever do when I see one of those guys, regardless if I remember the flags or not, the first thing you should always try is to run, just in case, because that'll save you a lot of time. But yes, you are correct. There are several flag choices that can really make or break a run if you forget them. So it's good to know what you're doing. And we have our first runner in the tower. Zelfer has dropped in to see what his condition is in.
So maybe he's the new Kenny Rogers. Hard to believe he sang that song. It just doesn't feel right, but he did.
That you're not woofing. Although at the time I believe it was called New Edition, but it is him singing.
Looks like we're about to have a couple of back-to-back Welk fights here on the bottom of your screen.
Renfell, I haven't lately, but I have seen it a couple dozen times. But I like bringing it up because Hudat on comms here with me is one of the few people that will actually help me out with some quote offs.
Out of your freaking element, boo.
These ingrates on Discord are only throwing around video game memes, and sometimes I don't feel like I fit in.
Listen, being the age that I am, and I was lucky enough to be able to go to school and use The Big Lebowski in a sociology class. So I got to watch it like 15 times. It's pretty sweet.
It's the dream. That's where I got my degree.
Get a nice White Russian going and just lean back and go to college.
And if you're just joining us, this is week 5 of the Kefka Grand Prix, Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. Come check out our Discord. Lots of helpful people on there. Lots of good guides. We've got a brand new wiki available on the website for you to check out if you're just looking to start up, or maybe you've already run a few but want to get more tips and tricks. Come check it out. Always folks willing to help.
So one thing real quick on Mr. Entity screen, one thing that I actually knew coming into this, which I think I've seen a lot of people not know, that first chest where you have to flick the switch and then you walk around to get it, if you flick the switch a second time, you can just walk right there and get it. It transposes the things around the chest, so save you a couple seconds there.
Yeah, I remember looking that one up not too long ago because I didn't even realize you could run around, and I was like, how the heck do you get this chest? Yeah, just hit the switch twice. Drew just found him an old man. He will fight Spicy Chicken number 4, although I'm not sure if he ever went to number 3. And we have number 4 on Swerve's screen also. Dueling Spicy Chickens.
Today's stream not brought to you by Wendy's, but it could be.
I like sponsorships.
Hey, if Wendy's wants to give me spicy chicken sandwiches to do this, I will take it.
Drew's Saban with the Valiant Knife putting in some work there. So he happened to take a good amount of damage right before his turn, and he's just going to use it to body Spicy Chicken right out of the air here. Valiant Knife, for those who don't know, not only ignores defense, but grants bonus damage for however much life you're missing off of your maximum. So the more damage you take, the more damage you deal, and it can be super clutch in fights just like this. We have almost simultaneous takedowns on Swerve and Drulith. So that's going to be a close race. Zelfer's making his way through the tower already at his first non-dragon fight.
Yeah, poor Ultros not going to fare very well here.
No. I wouldn't be surprised to see Zelfer take down Kefka with one roll of the dice. It seems like it's just going that way.
Just roll all 22s, and so Drew's going to get him another dragon and a Mog, and then presumably head to KT.
So if you recall, I believe Drew already did this dragon.
That's right, he did do the dragon.
So this is the importance of being efficient with your checks. Again, it wasn't a guarantee that we ever would find Strago, and I think he was just aiming for some early dragon advantage, but could have saved him a full tower climb and descent to hold off on that.
Yeah, the dreaded double dip.
I want to. Oh, and look, there's triple sixes for Zelfer. It's good to be the king. I want to throw out some choice quotes and references in the chat here, but this is a family-friendly stream, and I'm afraid I can't. But if you join the Discord, I'll be happy. Well, I can't say them in there either. I'll be happy to DM them to you, and we'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you were into the Big Lebowski, that automatically gets you a few points. You start out at a higher level than everybody else.
Oh, Ebbets Rock is lock. Huh? So that means Strago. All three of Strago's checks were characters, which is fascinating. I decided to do the tower because you can just walk in there and check to make sure it's a character and not risk doing a dead check. So that's what I went with. But I know some people who've already finished chose the Burning House, which to me is an extremely weird option because that's a super long check and kind of annoying that you have to fight a whole bunch of randomly moving things. However, there is the benefit of all that added experience, so I kind of understand it. But I hadn't even the dark horse candidate here is Ebbets Rock, which is the fastest of all three, and depending on, unless you have just horrific luck, but that could be the play that lets somebody catch up if they decide to go that way. But we see Swerve climbing the tower now too, so that one's not going to happen. And yeah, I do understand the XP gains, but we have access to scaled dragons, and those are super quick XP. Granted, it's not as much as they would if they're unscaled, but that's how I got my XPs and it worked out all right. Anyway, Zelfer on to boss number 2. Finds Atma I think he's at the Guardian spot.
Oh, we get a W wind here on Drula's screen. So what do you call that? There's always the white wind versus.
Yeah, it's whirlwind.
It's whirlwind. It's tornado in the Japanese version.
We're gonna have this debate every week, but it is, for the record, whirlwind. Because there's a giant tornado that comes across the screen. But yeah, white wind, west wind. We've got wailing wind, apparently.
Why would you cast it wind?
Y wind, wispy wind, hoodat wind.
I mean, it's an upside down.
Oh! I don't think Zelfer just checked it, but he just reminded me. There's so Mr. Entity actually turned me on to this check. I just thought it was funny, so I started doing it. There is a hidden chest right there below the poltergeist statue, And it just so happened to be in this seed, if you randomly checked it, which I did, is a Genji glove, which turned out to be super helpful because I happen to have a Ragnarok and an Illumina, and I had a Dragoon, and it made everything work out so much better with my Valiant Knife and everything. So it was a really good pickup. Don't think Zelfer got it. Maybe he'll go back for it, but it'll be interesting to see if anybody else picks it up.
Yeah, there are a couple of hidden chests inside of KT. So there's that one that you have to walk through a little hidden maze to get. That I thought, oh, this will be neat in the seed, and I'll do it a couple times, and I realized this is a horrible waste of time, even for me.
Yeah.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, there are just some, that just aren't worth it. But this one, it happens to be, I think, at least Mr. Entity calls it the last chest in the game. And he said he always checks it because one time it was in Illumina, so now, every time. And I thought that sounded cool. I like checking. I love treasure. It's hard. One of the hardest things for me to learn as a runner was to stop collecting so many chests when I didn't need them anymore, because I just love treasure.
Yeah, it's very hard to do.
But if they're on the way, I'm getting them. And that one's on the way. So Zelfer's opting to not get it, but I'm sure he doesn't need it considering he just did like 62,000 damage in one dice roll just a second ago. So he'll be fine.
I kind of view it as like the validation check in the Link to the Past randomizers. There's a chest right before you do the final Aghanim fight. If you don't open it, it's like, did you really finish the seed?
Questionable. Oh, I see. Chat's still they're still going with the wins. I'm glad we got that out of our system. Don't go chasing them, Saffron.
What happens when all those Future Force groupies get in the chat?
This is his fault. All right, where are we at here? Swerb's fighting another spicy chicken. So he's at the top of Fanatic's Tower, so this is number 4. And Mr. Entity has finally decided to go to the Magitech factory. Waifu wind, I like that one. It's a little inappropriate, but I'll allow it.
I mean, it's 7:34. It's late enough.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's midnight somewhere. Probably in Japan. Actually, no, it's more like 10 a.m. there or something, but whatever.
See how Zelfer decides to take down Vargas and the Ipoos.
Yeah, I happen to have Sabin in this fight also, and I debated just trying to pummel, but I honestly could not remember if finishing that fight with pummel gets you the XP or not, so I opted to just Valiant Knife him to death. Do you remember?
No, I just watched somebody play the game vanilla, and I don't remember. Classy Badger. The people down in our truck, researchers, say no.
Top researchers on it say I made the right decision, so I'm happy about that. Yeah, a lot of event bosses, if you end them in the vanilla event way, don't give you XP. So I always opt to just trounce them. Luckily, Mr. Entity did remember that the no undead flag is off and just trounced himself a train on the quick, so that's good. And he'll be heading for character number 7 as Drulith takes down Dirt Durgan numero uno.
Ooh, foreshadowing. No, Boiled Shrimp, you definitely pummel him because that's the technique that his father taught to Sabin that he was surprised about.
Which is funny because it's like the easiest and first one. So Vargas, what do you even know?
Yeah, okay. I was watching.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was watching my friend play through it, and it was like, oh, go ahead and pummel him. You have time. And then he immediately got killed by Vargas and had to walk all the way back around that little loop.
Yeah, it's especially frustrating in vanilla because of the random encounters and trying to get all the way back there again. Luckily, in the randomizer, we all have Moogle charms, and Mount Colts is not a big deal at all.
I hate Mount Colts in vanilla. It's so bad.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people carry that hatred over to the randomizer, but I timed it just the other day because Future and I were having not an argument, but it was posited that maybe Phantom Train was as fast or faster than Mount Colts. And I thought, there's no way. And so I timed it, and Mount Colts only takes a minute and change, like minute and a couple seconds to get to the boss fight. So it's actually a relatively quick check that more people should do.
I did not see, and
Yeah, I didn't see that either. I get technically he doesn't need it. He's going to get his number 4 here. He might have skipped it because he's not, not strong on magic, and he's going to rely on the 2 in the tower. So Zelfer is fighting himself. Tier 1 of Kefka. I think I asked this a couple weeks ago, but what is this dude's name? Did we give him a name? I think a name was actually presented and I've forgotten it, but we have an option number 2 now. We've got face, long arm, and short arm, but this dude's got to have a name, right?
I always just called it head, long arm, and short arm.
Yeah, but what's his name?
Steve Dave.
Tell him Steve Dave.
So we'll see if so last week Zelfer killed these things in the wrong order. So there's definitely an order you want to kill these bosses going up to Kefka in. And if you leave the head for last, it will cast Quake on you, which is no good. And he did it in a run, I want to say earlier today or yesterday. So we'll see, when you're doing a lot of damage, if you have something like jump or fixed dice with an offering, sometimes you can do a lot of damage to a target you don't want to, and it can be kind of dangerous. So you always need to be careful with that, but it looks like he pulled it off.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's still rocking that offering and fixed dice, you got to be careful throwing those around. That Quake is especially nasty. And then the vacuum waves don't, or what is it, vacuum wave? Or, I think that's it. I haven't let him hit me with that in so long. I think actually he did employ X-Zone to take care of Long Arm, which is a good strategy. Oh, and we see our first appearance of the Imp on Zelfer's screen.
I have absolutely no idea what that is, but looks bad.
I believe it's the Chancellor sprite, just in a different color palette. But that's
it is bad.
That's our Imp. Shockwave, thank you, Classy Badger. Because I knew it was a wave of some sort. You don't want to get hit by those either. So take out the face first, or take out Long Arm first if you have instant death, because it is vulnerable. And then make sure you save that short arm on Doug. Thank you, Boiled Shrimp. Till last.
Yeah, and it can also do, I forget the name of the attack, it's kind of a rare one, but it will turn you to stone, and then you immediately progress up, which means you lose that character.
Oh yeah, that's one with all the red eyeballs.
You don't see it very much, so I don't remember the name of it.
It is rare.
Dread. Thank
Red,
you, Classy.
that's the one. Classy, you want to come here and commentate? Just kidding. So it looks like Zelford found Siren, which is a helpful Esper I did not find. That'll mute magic over there on the left, stop him from casting his 47 different spells that he's constantly casting, so that'll save him some time. Closing in on time here, and it's going to be very tight at the top, to the surprise of no one. I won't say what the winning time is right now, but we're getting close. The current leading time, I should say.
Yeah, that's what's great about the Kefka Grand Prix is that, it's so competitive. The top is very, very tight, and it makes these races really interesting. And you can have a bad race, but you're still not done, right? As before last time we did it, if you were in last place, you just got kicked out. So it gives you a little bit room to work.
For sure. You can also just, if something goes completely wrong and you have to take a forfeit, you're not necessarily, you're not out. So keeps you in the game. I like this system that we have here. And we've got 40 some odd people with only just a couple for random reasons dropping out. So far it's been proving to be a good system. I think people like it.
Yep. Swerve going to Kefka's Tower. But what's really
Mr. Entity is wondering what's oh, that's his frustration dance. I was wondering what was happening on it on his screen. Edgar was just running randomly back and forth, but I believe that was his mashing of the D-pad saying, "I don't want to be here." But he's making the climb.
Yeah, you gotta face the inevitable. So, Zelfer fighting Sleep and Girl, always an interesting fight. You want to take out Girl first because she can life to Sleep, the guy in the front. And that's never good.
And I just saw the worst 4 dice rolls Zelfer's ever gotten. That was fascinating. Not that it's going to slow him down much, but yeah, multiple chances for calmness is not good. If you take out Sleep first, he'll calmness, and then he'll get life 2'd all the way back to full, and then, or at least to 10,000. And then calmness you again the next time you kill him. So always take out Girl first.
Yeah, classy. I don't know where these names come from. I don't know who made them up. It's just monkey see, monkey do. It's what everyone calls it, so that's what I call it. I have no idea.
Maybe it's in the Japanese version? I don't know.
Lady and Rest. That's fancy.
Lady and Rest.
Wow. That's excellent reference.
Nobody in the chat's going to get that, but I liked it.
Yeah, only the people old enough to have listened to it on AM radio.
Hey man, we had FM, a couple FM stations back then.
I mean, only if you were rich, but yeah.
You afford one of those fancy FM radios.
Back when you had to turn the TV from UHF to VHF.
Yeah, Renfield, that's the thing that your dad listens to political commentary on.
Yep, radio yells at you and you yell right back. Yeah, you say that, Ravelin Bay, and then I make a joke about Doom, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? There's a Doom video game from before 2016?
Oh, look at this. Zelfer also managed to find himself a Phantom, it seems, even though Realm, I guess it just hasn't taken effect for Realm, but he did find, but he's going to catch a Meteo to the face. And here comes the danger of the Phantom strategy. You cannot be hit by physical attacks, but you are guaranteed to be hit by magical attacks. So that one's hard to time. It's a ballsy move, but at least he was able to revive before this calmness hits. Let's see what happens. We've got a block and nothing. Yeah.
I was just about to say, I have seen Zelfer multiple times do the Phantom strats. So Phantom strats are pretty risky because of what you just talked about, but I've seen him pull it off multiple times. And again, anytime I talk about something I've seen Zelfer do a bunch in other runs, he doesn't do it here. So.
Yeah, the only time I ever employ that particular strategy is if I have something like offering Genji Glove and Valiant Knives, where I know I can deal a buttload of damage in one turn, because then you can almost guarantee that turn is when you'll hit the calmness. If I'm relying on like 3,000 to 6,000 damage at a time, I'm probably going to lay off of those strats, unless you're really good at counting and keeping track of how much damage you're doing. And then you have to remember how much. Look at these rolls.
Pro tip for the newer runners out there: always pay off your commentators if you're going to be restreamed, so they don't curse you.
It's a thing.
It really is.
I'll link my what's it? I was gonna say PayPal in the chat, but that makes me sound old again. So what is it? Not Square. What's that one? Venmo. Venmo me.
Does anything about what you know about me make you think I'm hip enough to know the answer to that?
No. That's my mistake.
Yeah.
So Kefka's charging up. He's going for it. I have a feeling he'll be fine. As Drew takes on his own Kefka fight. And not too far behind is Swerve hitting up the, just about to hit up those statues.
Yeah, we definitely got a good one tonight. I mean, everyone's getting into Kafka's Tower pretty early. It's been a pretty tight race. Very interesting to watch. A little bit straightforward, but that really lets you see the different detailed strategies people use, the way that they do menus, the way that they do fights.
Yeah, this seed, by pure happenstance, happened to be a pretty linear. People, I think, had to take most of the same checks until you got Strago, funnily enough, which was the second to last character. So, not a whole lot of route diversity in this seed, but there quite a bit of strategy diversity, despite there not even being magic available. So it's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll have to talk to Drew.
Ooh.
Talking about the double dip into Fnatic's Tower and the auction house time spent, how much of a differential does that give Drew?
I'm sorry, I was watching Zelfer finish and talking to him on Discord, see if he wanted to come in and chat. I cannot answer your question. Please repeat.
Oh, we can talk about it later once we talk to Zelfer.
Okay. What's the interview? I say, thing? Do the thing. So we're going to see if we can get Zelfer in here to talk.
It's the night before a holiday in America. You give us some time.
All right. And we have with us our on-stream winner, Zelfer. Congratulations, Zelfer. GG's.
Yeah, GG, dude. Welcome to the thing.
Thank you for inviting me to the thing. Much appreciated.
So how'd that go for you? Talk to me. Congratulations, Zelfer. GG.
Well, the seed was very generous. It had a bunch of items, equipment. It was very generous in that way. I do think I did every single check possible, though. The entire. So I was
did look like it. Yeah, we could kind of predict your route just based on what was left, even probably without knowing what was there, just because this happened to be a fairly linear seed, and it happened to be that the longest checks were always the ones who provided the characters. So everybody pretty much saved those for last. Although, interestingly enough, as we've learned, as soon as you got Strago, any of his checks were, all three of his checks rather, provided a character. So you could kind of take your pick.
Really? All three of them had characters?
According to our world famous tracker, Nth, Ebbets was Locke, the tower was Mog, and Burning House was Terra.
So I did not know that.
Yeah, the run got fascinating right at the end there, but I think everybody, at least everybody on stream, has chosen Fnatic's Tower anyway. And that's what I did too, because you can see what it is.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. As soon as I saw it, I was like, you know what? I'm sure this is the only path forward. I'm just going to suck it up and do it now.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about it.
So on that same token, I wanted to ask you about something, and this is purely so we could kind of get inside the mind of Zelfer, but when you went into Cyan's Dream and saw that the reward was not a character, you decided to keep going. And just wondering your reasoning behind that.
Alrighty. Well, one, I was kind of hoping to see Sortek at some point, and that would have been nice to have Cyan's Dream done for that. And that didn't. Oh well. Two, by the time you see the character in Cyan's Dream, quite a bit of time has passed game time wise, and I really didn't want to give that up, and I wanted more XP and everything anyway. So I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll just do this thing. We'll let time pass. I'll get more experience. This will be helpful. I'm just going to get it done.
Okay. So that's actually different than I assumed. Maybe you were looking for calmness protection espers or some esper bonuses or maybe a good item or something. So that is interesting to not give up the game time.
Yeah. I wanted the XP. I wanted the XP badly too.
Yeah, it was very possible
to.
Sorry. I was just going to say it was very possible in this seed to go in very underlevel depending on your route. I think one of our runners, who I guess I won't spoil here, but you probably know who it is if you've watched this enough, is went into Kefka's Tower at like level 29 or something like that. So
29,
maybe 30. It's possible it could have been 30, but it was down there. So yeah, the all that extra resetting, to your point, does not get you as much XP.
Yep. And I mean, I really would rather not do Kefka at level 30. I just nope, don't want to do it.
It does get rough. So, what'd you think of? We've kind of done one of these before, but what do you think of the no magic seeds?
Um, Surprisingly, they're interesting and they're fun. I have a lot of fun with them. I'm a big magic user myself though, so whenever these kind of things pop up, I'm like, okay, think of another strategy now because my usual get magic, hope for Merton, cry when I don't get Merton, and just settle for fire 3 and whatnot. Uh, yep, none of that's happening. I have to settle for fire 2, and that hurts my soul, so I can't do
Yeah,
that.
we were commenting on the Merton strats early on, but you made it through. Who dat? Anything to add before we let Zelfer go?
I don't want to keep you here too long, but because I'm definitely a professional, before this happened, I wrote down experience eggs important Zelfer Coliseum, and yet, despite all the promises that were made, I noticed that you didn't go to the Coliseum. I know you were testing out some of the strats. What played into that?
Okay. I like to when I was testing out the Coliseum. I like it when you don't get that much. Like the seed's just not generous. The seed's like, nope, I don't want to give you crap. Then that's when I like to go to Coliseum. Maybe get some more money. Maybe get really lucky and find something nice. This seed, I had a Ragnarok early. I had a fixed dice early. I ended up finding an offering for the fixed dice, and I'm like, okay. And then apparently, Poltergeist wanted to be all over the place, so I had Lances coming out of every which way, and I'm like, all right, I don't need anything at the Coliseum this particular time. I could beat the crap out of the enemy. I could like flip multiple coins to figure out what I want to do to them. I'm happy. So that's why you didn't see it today. But I'm going to keep on testing it out because it's fun and interesting.
Yeah, I think that is interesting. It would be neat to see Coliseum actually get running, on a restream as an actual valid race strat. So, be cool to see if that happens. Other than that, I think that about does it for me. It was a good run, good time, 144.56. That's going to put you way up there.
I think
I like it.
currently in third. I want to say that's off the top of my
Right.
head, but good showing. Any last thoughts before we let you go?
Not really. Just thank you to everybody that sets all these events up, and thank you to Atma for making the randomizer. It was a blast. I'll see everybody next week.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Zelfer. GG's.
GG, man.
Take care.
All right. Drulith taking on tier 2 as Mr. Entity is getting his probably last dragon in the overworld. And Swerve still working on climbing the tower.
Yeah, and while we were talking with Zelfer there, Mr. Entity decided to go get Bum Rush, so it's going to be interesting to see how much he uses that. As someone who is terrible at blitzing, Bum Rush is my nemesis. I never even attempt it, but
yeah, Bum Rush is really great in the early game, and I really prefer leaving the Bum Rush last flag off when the commands are randomized, because your odds of having both Sabin and a Blitzer in early game are low. It worked out in this seed that they weren't, but the flag is on, so no early Bum Rush. However, in late game, Bum Rush is not great. It's good, but since you can't select your target, sometimes makes it a crapshoot, and also you're capped out at quad 9s when sometimes you have options like the offering fixed dice and valiant knives and things that can send you over that cap. So but sometimes it is a good decision if your offense is lacking, which this seed had the potential for a lacked offense. So we'll see how that works out for him. Although that particular check, the event getting Bum Rush, takes like 2 minutes in itself. So it's not a quick get.
And it looks like Drew's having fun here. He's attacking Girl with the Illumina, which is nice, but unfortunately, it seems like whenever somebody absorbs something, a weapon with that will always proc. And in this case, it's healing her for more than the sword is actually doing damage.
Unless you're Zelfer, in which case it just kills her dead. Oh, what do we have here? Did Mog have sword tech?
Does Mog have the Valiant Knife?
So what I think he's doing here is implementing a Psycho Mog. Or at least, no, he's got health. Okay, for some reason, he killed off Mog, and so I thought maybe maybe he had Sword Tech, like a retort queued up, but looks like maybe he was just clearing his status or something. Not sure why he decided to off his own Mog, but maybe it was a condemned state that he was trying to get rid of.
Yeah, folks down in the truck saying that Locke had Sword Tech.
We were just discussing Psycho Cyan earlier in chat today, so I thought maybe we would see it, but I think it's questionable if it's allowed or not, so I think people are erring on the side of not. So tier three can be nasty. As mentioned before, you got to take out Girl, who absorbs all elements. You have to use non-elemental damage, physical damage. And then when you have things like a Dragon Horn, where you don't know how much damage you're really going to get, can lead to triggering some nasty counterattacks.
Yeah, and Go-Go can't catch a break here. And, while Mog does have heal or health, it's not that much healing. And since there's no magic, we don't have any strong curative spells.
Yep, Mog's got health, but he's a relatively low level, I think, since he was such a late pickup. And there goes Celis to the condemned counter. So hopefully hope he doesn't see any Medios or Mertens or anything. Well, I don't think Mertens anymore, but can he Merton? Is it Girl that Mertens? Or yeah, he can Merton.
Yeah, and he's done some damage to Sleep, so I don't know if a Meteor might be out of the question, but that W wind's been hitting him pretty hard. It's not a great spell for you to cast, but man, when the enemies keep spamming it can get rough.
Yeah, but it looks like he's relatively back on track here. He's just finding a way to queue up the most amount of damage in one turn he can to try to minimize those counters. And
Swerve on
yep, looks like Mr. Entity's finally making his way into the tower, so we've got everybody near the end here. Be interesting to see how much. I think it's probably too late for Swerve to fully catch up unless something goes horribly wrong for Drew, but it'll be interesting to see how much offense Swerve managed to get. Looks like he is pairing his Murder Child with the Gem Box, which is not a bad strategy, even though only having tier 2 spells.
Yeah, the head on this first tier is weak to fire, so that's what you want to focus on.
So Drew has lost his Dragoon and his Mimic to Calmness, so it should still be doable. He's got an Illumina user. It'll just take a little longer, but he's going to have to be careful because his lower leveled people are more likely to be gonered deathed than ever before. So he's going to have to do a little health management here.
Yeah, and Drew can pull this off. Drew's very talented, but you never want to see somebody coming in with 1,052 hit points to a fight.
No, not the best. But once you know the mechanics of this fight, it's pretty much a matter of counting HP and just making sure you don't trigger any unwanted counters by just making a mistake. So I think he'll be fine here. And let's do one last shout out for our community here. Come check us out on Discord. This is Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. We have a brand new wiki available with lots of info on how to get started and talks about all the checks and the different flags available for this randomizer. We are in week 5 of the Kefka Grand Prix, which is an ongoing tournament with about 45 of our community runners. And we'll be doing a second stream of 4 more runners on Friday. And then catch us this Saturday at this same time being 7 p.m. Eastern, for our weekly community race, where we do a different set of flags every week and try out some new things. And we'd love to see you stop by and either have a chat or come try out the randomizer and get involved.
Yeah, I am always down for more Worlds Collide. These races are always fun, and it's a great community, great game. I don't race, but just to play it casually, I know there are quite a few of us, and it's a lot of fun. So
Sorry, go ahead.
what I was saying while you were looking for Zelfer is, with the differential between Drew and Zelfer, it's a little bit bigger now. But the double dip into Fnatic's tower and the time spent at the auction house, that was minutes, and that could make a difference there. Now it turned out it didn't, but that's where seconds count.
Yeah, but not necessarily between Zelfer and Drew, but now there, like I just mentioned, there are about 45 people running this, and so a couple minutes could send you down a few places. So yeah, those optimizations are super important. I do understand the strategy of kind of going for it to see if you can get a leg up. If it worked out for him, that big damage, or rather a big offense experience points boost from early dragons, and maybe if he found a good Esper in the auction house, could give him a leg up. But it is a gamble. It did not pay off for him today. It looks like Drew is making full use of everyone's favorite item, the heal rod, by bashing his own characters in the face and doing a pretty beefy heal on them.
Just heal rod with Strega.
That's a pretty decent. That's like nearly a Cure 3 level whack there.
It is, and you can throw it. It has a 200 battle power, so when you throw it, as long as you don't throw it at yourself, it's quite powerful. But
you don't want to throw it at yourself.
Yeah, I don't think you go into a seed starting out hoping that you're going to have a heal rod on Strago for the Kefka fight.
So here's where Drew's going to be in trouble. He just Phoenix downed a character, and we've got Goner queued up, and I'm not sure. These characters are not his high level characters, so we're be curious what their defense is. He's going to lose Strago. We'll see if he loses Cyan, who I think is not wearing any gear.
Yeah.
But Celis will be fine. Mog will most likely be fine, so he's not out of it. It's just going to make life a little more frustrating for him.
Yeah, so Goner will split damage between people, so it's better to have 4 people up and just have some people die. Whoa, that's rough though.
But I think he's pretty much just waiting around for the next for the next Goner charge, because he didn't get to do any damage that round. It happened to be everybody was sick and dying, so Revenger, pretty uneventful. That just clears all your party's buffs, which I don't think he really has many. So Revenger, if Kefka's going to use a turn, Revenger is the one you want to see.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And Swerve moving up to the 3rd tier to his fight with Girl in Sleep.
Yep, he's catching up. Zelfer's going to take this one whack at a time, and those hyperdrives can be brutal. And his main damage dealer just caught one to the face, so I'll have to. Does he have more Phoenix downs? Uh-oh. Oh, he does. Okay. I thought he was out of Phoenix downs for a second. That would have been trouble.
Drew's living on that edge here.
But now's the time to deal the damage.
Oh, there you go. Break that shield.
And this could do it.
544 dice roll kills Kefka.
Yeah, I clipped a fight of mine the other day where I was dishing out all this damage, feeling good about myself, and still didn't kill it. And then I poked him with a lance for like 700 damage, and that was what did it. Always funny to see.
Ooh,
so we'll see if we can get. Sorry, we'll see if we can get Drew in here for an interview in just a minute. But yes, Swerve making good progress here. But looks like he's trying those. I don't know if he used Phantom or how he got to be invisible, but yeah, again, dangerous.
Yeah, that train is my least favorite ability here. Oh, it's going to take out Sabin. Fortunately, it's only one character, but still not what you want to see.
Yeah, he'll be all right, I think. Train in a non-magic seed isn't as bad because mute probably doesn't do much for you anyway. And if you happen to have Illuminas, they can't miss. So not the worst thing, but yeah, they are super annoying in most cases, and that's why I always make sure to have at least 3 remedies before I go into Kefka's Tower if I can help it.
Yeah, I usually like to try to put a ribbon on my main caster on a magic seed, so because I seem to get trained every time I fight Kefka.
All right, I'm going to pull Druith in here. And we have Drew. GG, Drew. Congrats on the finish.
Thanks.
So how'd that go for you? It was a little dicey at the end there, but you pulled through.
Honestly, I'm not too happy with how the seed went at all.
So we noticed you were trying some off the beaten path strats at the beginning, like checking the auction house and going for an early Fanatics Tower Dragon. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So my whole plan was to just stay ahead of the level curve basically, and waste a little bit of time to sort of blitz the end. I did not expect there to be such a such a what's the word? Well, you had to go all the way into Magitech Factory to get a character. Like it was really linear. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting that. I was kind of expecting, like in my practice, just get all the characters right at the end, finish around level 30.
Yeah, everyone pretty much encountered the same kind of walls. It happened to be that the longest check possible contained that character, so everybody was kind of doing all the rest of the checks first. So,
Yeah.
but interestingly, the seed would have opened up had we required more than 8 characters because Strago actually all 3 of his checks were different characters. So you could have picked any final check to get your last one, but other than that, there was pretty much no route diversity in this one.
That's pretty funny. Well, what happened is, well, doing the dragons early was meant to just get stupid overpowered to beat every boss really fast, which worked. But there was so many bosses that just awarded so much XP and so much good stuff that it just ended up not working out too well for me. And then the final battle, I don't know why I didn't reset when Sabin died, but that would have saved me another 10 minutes. I also kind of just let him die. I don't know. I should have just revived him. Phase 1 was weird. I don't know. I think the HP, you can't really like count it anymore. And that's another thing. Sleep, double calmness, I was trying to count, and then I was going to time a phantom, but he just kind of did it way earlier than I was expecting.
Yeah, it was kind of it was a little weird. I know what you're talking about, but what was Sabin using? Was he wasn't your Illumina user, but
He
Valiant
was the
Knife?
Valiant Knife user, yeah.
Yeah, that definitely would have come in handy. But so you did come in second on stream with Swerb pulling in right behind you. I cannot tell you where you are in the standings right at the moment, off the top of my head, but we don't have a whole lot of runners finished just yet, so we'll have to see how it all plays out. But who dat? Anything for Drew?
We were talking about it when it was happening. There's not very many seeds where you expect at the end you're going to have Strago using a heal rod and be happy for it, I guess. So yeah, that last fight was rough, but pulled through it. 202 is pretty good time.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's sad is how when I was playing my practice seeds, I found that playing like a sort of different way than normal was working out to be faster in general. And then the seed where it's actually the Kefka Grand Prix, it turns out if you just play the game kind of normally, it would work out really well. And
Yeah,
I
it's a
was
gamble.
like,
I think we knew what was going through your head at the time, but yeah, sometimes it just doesn't pay off. But you made it through. Thanks for coming by and talking.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Any final thoughts before we let you go?
Yeah, just thanks Restream team. Thanks Atmatech. Everybody should play the randomizer if they haven't already. And yep, that's it for me.
Cool. Thanks, Drew. GG.
GG, man.
Okay, now we're going to pull in Swerb. And here we have Swerb. GG on the finish. Good job.
Yo, thanks.
How'd that go for you?
That went all right, I think. I mean, obviously there's some mistakes. There's some stuff I wasn't too happy about, but overall, it was all right. I
Yes,
did a
it
few
was.
practices, and like the two I did before this, I had like a 204 and a 206. So this being right in the middle, I guess makes sense.
Yeah, it lines up pretty well. And this particular seed was fairly linear. We watched everybody pretty much take the same path. So
Yeah, like
if you
last.
strayed from it, then it was really just any straying from the path was just a time loss. So we definitely saw that happening everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much like last locationing characters at every step of the way.
But strong finish there at the end. I think you went into Kefka's Tower considerably behind Drew, but actually only ended up just about 2 minutes behind. We had a strong showing at the end, so good job on that. Any thoughts on not being able to use any magic, or maybe how you worked around it?
I actually really enjoyed this tool, or not this tool set, but this flag set. I think actually it's like helped me personally because I feel like all of the weeks so far I tend to over prep. Like even in this seed, I don't know why I made that last pit stop in Figaro Castle to pick up a few more mega elixirs because I was pretty strong and I already had one, and clearly I only used one in the end anyway. I feel like I tend to have like over prep and like over like switch around equipment or espers and stuff too much in the other flag sets, and when you can't really do that or there's not much point, I feel like it just kind of helped me go faster than I normally would.
Yeah, that's a super solid point. I had that. I was talking about this earlier, but I had the same problem. Sometimes you got to know just when you're good and no more prep is needed because you're just kind of burning time. So that's a good point. Not many espers to swap around because what? Why bother? And then you realize you can do the Kefka
Yeah,
fight. So.
it's just like, well, check the new esper. Does this have a good level up bonus? Nope. Okay, do nothing then, and
Right.
that's about it. And then occasional swapping around equipment if you find like something good. I don't know. I like Poltergeist like showed up like 4 times or something this seed,
Yep,
which was
4
pretty
times.
funny.
Yeah.
And then
to be fair, he might have been somewhere else too. We just didn't make it that far.
I mean, obviously worked around like the magic requirement a little bit using Realm with X magic, just because she has like like the highest base magic stat in the game. So if you can hit weaknesses or something, it can be kind of useful. And
For
it was
sure.
like good consistent damage in the mid game when it was kind of like, well, I can hit them for like a solid like 1,000 to 1,500 with some Ice 2 or Fire 2 or whatever, or I can roll the dice with Super Balls. And then, well, obviously Edgar is getting pretty strong, but
yeah, those early Super Balls were pretty clutch. But Hudat, anything for Swerb?
So I know that Future's been asking this the last couple of weeks, and I don't think you've been asked it. And if you have, I'm sorry if you could repeat it. If you won the right to name the flags for the next seed, what kind of seed would you make?
I would probably, I haven't thought about it a whole lot. I think I'm a big fan of just like, well, actually, there's a new random tiered stuff that seems pretty interesting. So I'd probably do that for like magic in shops on like the magic on espers in the shops. Because I kind of like when playing around with this myself before this like Kefka Grand Prix thing, I kind of just liked having a lot of like purely random magic spells instead of like shuffling or anything like that. And probably do like the shuffled 20% like random tiers and shops would probably be interesting. But I think the biggest thing I would probably change that we haven't had so far is just like scaling to like average or highest level. Just because I think that I don't know, I think that's just kind of interesting because I like there is like it does help you to level still because you kind of just in general outscale bosses, like because you'll just be able to out damage them before they can really do anything. But I think that would be a lot of fun. I guess this one also kind of discourages trying to level up a lot. I mean, not a ton, but you don't need to like level up a lot because if you just go fast, then you'll just beat everything up anyway. That kind of like the idea of like
Fair point.
scale the highest level or something like that.
Cool. Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up. Mr. Entity's working his way through the Kefka fight right now. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
No. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for commentating and restreaming this.
Cool. Appreciate it. All right. Well, GG's word. Catch you next time.
Yeah,
All
GG's, man.
Thanks. See you later.
Well, if anybody's asking me, I would, if I'm choosing the flag set next week.
Well, hey, Boo, what flags would you use if you got to choose next week?
You know, funny you should ask. I would give everybody jump and make all the shops random to make sure everybody could guarantee their dragon horns and our lances. And I would vet the seed beforehand to make sure that they were available and that there were no Illuminas or Ragnaroks anywhere. And then I would also eliminate magic like we did this seed. Forcing everybody into the greatest strategy this game has ever seen, everybody Dragoon.
I think your answer is just about as evil as the one, was it Boiled Shrimp gave last week?
Oh, what was that?
I don't remember, but he cackled a lot, and it caught me so off guard that I don't actually remember what he said.
Well, that sounds good. I like it. But you know, Zelfer in chat brings up a good point. I had plenty of opportunities to do a whole lot of jumping in this seed. I opted to only go with one Dragoon because I happened to have fixed dice offering Illumina Ragnarok available to me. And you know, at some point you got to be reasonable and just go fast. But if those things aren't available, then I mean, why are you not jumping? That's my question to everybody. Yeah, you know,
Gotcha.
Zelfer, actually, I played around with that idea. If I had found the Palador Esper, I might literally have just put a Dragonhorn and an Aura Lance on everybody. I mean, I know they could do Dragoon boots also, but that would have been a lot of fun. We're gonna make it happen. One of these days, maybe Atmatech, our creator, will add the option to customize your starting gear, and I'll just give everybody Dragonhorns and lances.
You know, I like a good jump strat, but there's really to me, it's really cool if you can do a Palador and then use go to mimic that Palador again and get everybody out. I mean, you can do a ton of damage.
Yeah. Or if we have the multicast flag turned on, we just keep doing it over and over. Or multi-summon, I mean.
That's the dream.
Oh, I would love it.
W Wind is not pulling a lot of punches tonight.
It's putting in some work for sure. That dastardly Willy Wind. Wait, chat. What was W Wind again?
I think it was Waifu Wind was the winner.
I want to see how many more they can come up with. Ooh, out comes the Merton.
Yeah, see, the enemy's not afraid to use Merton strats.
How much damage did it do to himself with that Merton? Did you see?
I did not. It wasn't very much.
Yeah. It's a bold strategy for somebody who can't absorb it.
Right?
For an enemy specifically, it's kind of like they programmed it just to hurt himself, you know. So.
Well, he slept through the beginner's house, so it's his fault for not learning.
Clutch calmness block, and Mr. Entity is going into the final fight with full power.
Yeah, see, I think if I made a seed, it would be something horrible. Since I don't race, I have the luxury of being able to torture all the runners. So I'd probably do something like Strago and Umaru start, where everybody only has sketch as an ability.
Yeah, let's I like to. Oh yeah, if I'm choosing flags, by the way, or eliminating sketch from the entire seed, I think we should just take it out of the game altogether. Although I did watch a race. I can't remember who did it, but not too long ago, where somebody sketched Kefka and got an Ultima out of it. That was pretty interesting.
I have defeated Kefka in a hairy situation with that, actually.
I never bother taking I just never even bother cursoring down to sketch to even try. I'd rather have just person just lie flat on their face.
Thank you, Ed.
Yeah, control can go too. And also, I do not appreciate your puns. Looks like we're counting down to the end here. Mr. Entity's dishing out the damage. And he's not going to see much resistance here. Yep, and there he goes.
Down goes Kefka. Well, so Future told me we have 48 hours we have to fill, so everybody settle in.
Everybody grab yourself a curse shield. And we'll go try to get that 17 factorial uncursed. All right, let me see if I can bring Mr. Entity in here for an interview, and then we'll get up out. And joining us is Mr. Entity. GG's Mr. E. Congrats on the finish.
Thank you. I did finish 4th out of those people, and that's kind of what I felt was going to happen when I was typing that into the Discord.
Well, the good news is there are like 40 other people you're competing with as well. So
yeah,
you're probably still in pretty good shape. It's certainly not a bad time, especially in a seed where all the longest checks were pretty much required.
Yeah, I feel that's really going to come down to mostly who did the weird checks first, because there's like the 2 Strago checks I didn't do at the very end. The go-go check I forgot about that might have helped me earlier, and that's about it.
I forgot about the go-go check also when I was doing my run. Although I lucked into doing Magitech because I just wasn't paying attention, and just lucked out on that one, so I didn't end up doing Science Dream, but I did all the other ones.
Yeah, it was very locked behind certain specific checks. It was an odd seed.
But the not so interesting, but would have been had this been a longer seed point was Strago finally did open up the seed for everyone because all 3 of his checks were a character, so you could have chosen anyone.
Oh, hooray!
Yeah, yeah.
So I did the Fanatics Tower for no reason.
Yeah, but if it makes you feel better, everybody did.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess once you get Strago, you go, well, I can at least check this one, and the game's been a real douche hat this whole time, so it's probably going to be there.
Exactly. And also there's a dragon there that you could theoretically kill on the way to save you some time, maybe, if you have, the horsepower for it.
There was tons of breakables available, so
yeah.
I wasn't super worried about it.
So, Houdat, you got anything for Mr. E?
Yeah, Swerve saying, Fnatic Tower just makes the most sense. Yeah, I think in this case it probably was, but I believe you were the only person to go get Bum Rush. So, that's about a 2-minute trade-off there. And I didn't count how many times you used it, but do you think that was a good time trade-off?
It's about 45 seconds, I think. And the reason I got it was that so if someone went down in the final battle, because the only way I had to get through Combus was try to keep people in the air and make Celeste nigh unkillable. So that Go had something to do. And then I remembered he had fixed dice anyway. But fixed dice are real slow, and I don't like them. I didn't really get 7. I got it for Go.
Did you manage to find the offering?
Yeah, I had an offering from very near the beginning.
Yeah, I think everybody actually found that Katana Soul. Once people saw their fixed dice, that the next mission is to check all those monsters in boxes. But
yeah, the offense for this was pretty easy for me. I mean, I hope other people went to Tomasa because it was just, oh yeah, here's all the jump gear.
Yes, my favorite shop that's ever shopped was that one in Tomasa with both Dragoon boots and a dragon horn in the same shop. That was my favorite.
And then there were like 5 poltergeists, so it was also here's all the aura lances in the world.
Yeah, it was a good time. Well,
very friendly seat.
Yeah, we should have more like it. I was just telling everybody before you got in the room, If I get to choose the flags, I'm putting jump on everybody.
Jump is a fun command.
Yeah, I don't remember if Future asked you what your preferred flag set would be if you get to choose.
Myself or Boo?
You, Mr. Entity.
I have no idea. I would just probably make all the sprites chancellors.
And that's good enough.
Yeah,
All right.
I'd just make it up at the time. I got nothing specific.
Well, that wraps it up for the race here. Any closing thoughts before we let you go?
No, just thanks for doing the restreams. Thanks to everyone involved. Thanks to Fals for running the thing. And as always, thanks to Atma for making the thing. And also Boojak.
Great. Thanks, Mr. EGG.
All right, have a good one.
All right, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for this week's first run of the Kefka Grand Prix. Make sure to tune in on Friday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern time for our second round of Kefka Grand Prix Round 5 runners. It'll be the same race, but we'll do it again and, see how things are mixed up. And then make sure to catch our community race on Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern with some, I believe this week is going to be a showcase of a planned routed race. So hopefully we'll see some big divergence in paths and alternating strategies and things when people have a real chance to kind of plan out what they're going to do ahead of time. Anyway, thanks for joining us all. Any closing thoughts, Houdat?
Just, thanks to you for co-commentating. It's fun as always. Thank you to Nth for tracking, Classy Badger for restreaming, since I don't have the internet to be able to restream. And like I say every time, if you're looking at this and you think, oh, this might be fun, maybe I'll get into it, just come onto the Discord. It's a really friendly group of people. It's a great randomizer, a lot of fun. There's no pressure. You don't have to race. You don't have to be restreamed. Come in, have a good time. It's well worth it.
Well said, and thanks again to our creator of Worlds Collide, Atmatech. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time. And we out.